Hello and welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor, Russ Stevens, and Uncle Joe McLaughlin. JP's first son, Timmy Hoey, he'll be here at some point. We don't know where he is, but he'll be coming in. Well, thank you for joining us here on Zoom, here on Big TV. Boys, well, we got sports to talk about. Finally, games are being played. But we start with the New England Patriots because we have to. The most popular team in Boston sports. 6 players already opt out. I gotta give it to Rusty Boy. He texted me this whole plan of Bill Belichick.
It was a Joe McLaughlin conspiracy theory at its finest. It's amazing that it came out of my fingertips and not Joe's.
Well, I'll give you the Red Sox tanking conspiracy later.
All right, well, we'll get there later.
But literally an hour later, it almost happened. Rusty, I got to give you the floor. Tell us what you thought.
Yeah, so a bunch of these guys opt out, and then could you ever imagine a scenario where the Patriots are looking at a tank job, but with Belichick not being responsible for it? So Belichick opts out and says, for my health, I want to coach the New England Patriots for a lot longer. There's a very risky environment here, so I'm going to opt out. Josh is going to coach the Patriots this year. He brings them all the way down to the bottom.
Yes, he does.
Tank for Trevor, and the tanking for Trevor doesn't happen under Bill's watch. And all of a sudden, we've got Trevor Lawrence. We could franchise tag Cam Newton if we wanted to.
Yeah.
We got all these guys coming back after the virus, and we're right back on top again.
It's perfect, and you don't have to have the comparison Brady-Belichick.
Now, Belichick will never tank, but Belichick would hand the tank job to Josh maybe for a year. Why not?
Or Stephen O'Brien could be the tanker.
Yeah.
Pick a Belichick, any Belichick.
Look, 6 players opt out. Dante Hightower, Chung, Marcus Cannon, 3 stars for the New England Patriots, you would hope this year. Did Bill Belichick have any role in them opting out, Joe?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
He would prefer that they stay, especially Hightower with Van Noy and Collins gone, and even your favorite Landon Roberts.
Yeah.
I mean, they were in real trouble to start at linebacker to begin with. And now you lose Hightower, the guy with the green dot on his helmet. I don't know who's the captain anymore there.
There's Rusty, got to figure that Dante Hightower gets cut next year before they paying him $8 million.
Well, it's a great question. I mean, it always happens in comparison to what else do they have? I mean, do they feel like they've got linebackers? Could they trade? Could they trade him? I mean, he probably still has value. What's he got? 1 year left, Joe, on that contract?
Yes, he does.
So you
would just go to next year.
Yeah, the contract tolls, right? So I could imagine
the players that opt out, their contracts, just for the
contracts
roll over.
Just roll. So look, I think, could he have trade value? Could you sign him to an extension for a lot less money than you would have otherwise? I mean, it's going to be a weird year. I still don't think they're going to play more than 8 games. So if you're going to be really a ragtag outfit, this is the year to be a ragtag outfit.
Yeah. All right, Timmy boy, JP's first son, you're here. Can we hear you, Timmy?
Can you hear me?
Good to hear. You're just starting the show. We're just talking about the Patriots opt out. I got a text from a frantic text from Timmy boy. Just couldn't believe Dante Hightower opted out, and then Chung just finished you for the day.
It's but that helps the Trevor sweepstakes. That's all. I have to think my priorities here. I hope they all opt out.
Yeah, right at this point, right? I mean, look, the season, most likely, what we've seen from the Florida Marlins, and we'll talk about that later, it's going to be very difficult. There's so many moving parts in baseball, and that doesn't seem to be working out that well. More moving parts in the NFL. Last week, we spoke about probably an optimistic view was 4 games into the season. It feels a little more pessimistic right now.
The way things are going down south right now, I'm doing some business with a lot of guys down south, and it's a horror show down there right now. What happened up here back in May and in April is hitting them 3 times as hard, it seems like, right now. Yeah. So I just don't see the NFL happening.
Yeah. All right. So if we got to talk that the NFL is happening. That's currently at this moment with the guys that have opted out. Can the Patriots still feel the competitive team, Professor?
I think the biggest loss. It'd be good to hear Joe's point of view on this. To me, the biggest loss is Hightower because you thinned out that linebacking core going in. You've got, there were rumors that Cannon could have been a cut candidate this year if Kajus steps up. Yeah. Chung has degraded. They picked the replacement for Chung, Duggar, in the second round. Yeah. So
first pick of their first pick.
Yeah. So I think the one that hurts the most is Hightower, right?
Oh, easily. Yeah. He hurts the most. But like I was telling Scott earlier, the best one is Chung. He just got a $3 million signing bonus when they convinced him not to retire. So now he's putting that in his pocket and taking the year off.
Well, I thought that was a strange contract to begin with. I thought that was kind of a Ninkovich, give him something because he's.
I'm a little out of touch. So who gets paid? Who doesn't get paid if they opt out?
They both. If you opt out and you have an excuse, you get paid $350,000
a stipend
for the year, and your contract rolls over for the next year. If you don't have any excuse, you get paid $150,000. So not much for these guys who make millions of dollars.
The term is the contract tolls, so it goes over to the next year.
Yeah, but we know with the NFL, they can cut you at any moment. These contracts aren't guaranteed, so it doesn't mean a whole lot.
And I wouldn't be surprised, with Cannon, Chung, and Hightower we're already a little long in the tooth and considered old by NFL standards, that by next year, they might just cut all three of them.
They might.
If they've groomed the replacements in Kajus, like you said, for Cannon, Duggar for Chung, and one of these two guys that they drafted at linebacker for Hightower.
Yeah. I mean, Hightower doesn't seem to be able to make it through a season without getting injured these days anyways.
Well, he got through last year. I think he's been pretty healthy the last couple of years, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I think does the opt-out increase the chances that Stidham will be the starting quarterback as opposed to Cam Newton?
No.
You don't think so? I think it does increase the chances. I think if you're tanking, you're playing.
I'm only joking. I still don't think they're tanking. As long as Bill Belichick is coaching this team, they're not tanking.
Yeah. They'll figure out a way. They'll figure out a way. It might not be as pretty as it's been in the past, but they'll figure out a way.
Name one other player in the New England Patriots that would have to opt out and you would buy into the fact that not only are we tanking, it's a necessity at this point.
Gilmore?
Yeah, that's good.
That's a good answer. Yeah, great. Yeah.
When, look, if Edelman dropped out.
Or the McCourties, they're getting old. They might.
Yeah, but see, they got so many defense. I think Gilmore's a good one. McCourty's a good one. I think Edelman, not that he's clearly the leader on offense, right? I mean, he's clearly
James White.
Yeah, James White. I think it really is great answers, guys. I think it's between Gilmore and Edelman. I think either of those guys go down during the course of the season or opt out, and you have no chance to compete with the Kansas City Chiefs of the world. How can you play in Florida? That's the big question that Major League Baseball is asking.
Talk to the NBA.
How are you going to play in Florida when they have multiple teams in the NFL?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, Joe, you said the NBA, but look, what the NBA has done, it could be anywhere because really what they've done is hermetically sealed it off from the community that surrounds it. Yeah. And so it could have been, the NBA could have done it in Vegas. They could have done it in New York. They could have done it in Orlando. They could have done it in Texas. I honestly think that they could have put it anywhere.
Yeah. But the service people are still coming and going from outside in the Orlando community that these people they'll be having contact with.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much. I think they have surface contact. They have contact through shared surfaces, but I don't know how much contact face to face these guys are having with a lot of people who are coming in,
like room service and that.
Quite possible they have the service people in the bubble too.
No, they don't.
They don't.
Okay. No, they're testing them, but they don't have them in the bubble. Look, I mean, and the other thing is, it's a different thing. It's a little bit not fair because you're only asking the NBA players to do this for 90 days. Most of them won't even be in it for more than 30 because they're going to get knocked out of the playoffs. So, they're behaving themselves. You'd have had these couple of incidents. Lou Williams gets wings from the strip club in Atlanta and stuff, but you don't have.
That's where I get my wings too. So,
Right. Exactly.
Well, to be fair, those wings are named after him.
And they're good. They're very good. Yeah.
But they're just is a fundamentally different situation than what baseball is doing and what football is going to try to do.
All right,
so many more players on a football team too.
Totally.
It's a large amount of. It's a big roster.
Yeah.
And look, you can see that the NFL is concerned. They keep on. Went from 4 exhibition games to 1 exhibition game to no exhibition games to 14 practices to, we're going to probably make it flag football by the end.
Well, they kind of got pushed into that. The Players Association had to kind of poke them and prod them to kind of get kind of proactive there.
Yeah, well, look, we go to Major League Baseball, and the Marlins would have played this week if the Nationals hadn't voted as a team to say, we're not going there to play in Florida. We're not doing it. It just shows you where the commissioner of Major League Baseball, Manfred, and the people who run baseball, where their heads are at.
Yeah, it's a brigade of morons, really.
Yeah. We start with the Red Sox. The Red Sox were going to field this team, whether it was 60 games or 162 games. And this is thoroughly embarrassing that they have put out this product.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they would have fielded a different team if it was going to be a 162 game season. I have to think they would have. This parade of no names with 10 plus ERAs is crazy.
How's my 24 win prediction looking right now?
Yeah, that looks 14 games more than they're going to win.
Yeah, no, it's bad. It's an embarrassment. I'm now, I think I wrote to you the other night, Scott. This looks like a team that'd be lucky to win 15 to 20 games at this point. I mean, they are just running out. They're running out pitchers who just are, to Joe's point, just miserable no names.
Yeah, it feels like, look, I go to the Hadlock Field and watch the Portland Sea Dogs all summer, and it feels like a Portland Sea Dogs starting rotation.
The really people in Portland wouldn't know these guys.
Ryan Weber, Monty Hall, whatever his name is.
Osage, Osage,
Strong, who's very weak. I mean, this is just a joke. And when you have guys like Andrew Cashner, I know, we picked him up last year, and he didn't perform, but he has a history of being a fairly good pitcher. That you don't even sign a guy like him to put a Major League Baseball quality starting pitcher is embarrassing.
Yeah, I think
you don't see the guys like that. Can play like Bonds and Workman and them that are Major League pitchers. They're not even using them.
Yeah, I think I've turned around 180 degrees pretty much. I think I think it's basically a tank job, and they're going to use the 60 game season, and they don't have to worry about fans in the stands booing them. If you're going to tank hard during a 60 game season and get the first pick in the draft and reset your luxury tax thing. And
my son is playing for the Milton Legion team right now, and it's more entertaining than a Red Sox.
Yeah, right. It's a great point, Russ. We don't talk about that much. We talk about it in football and basketball. We always talk about the draft picks and tankathon and stuff. But you hire a Heim Bloom. He has a history in Tampa Bay of building up farm systems, of getting top 5 picks each year. And Tampa Bay is a really competitive team. Maybe that's the strategy John Henry's doing with the Red Sox.
It could be. They've already tonight. They're sitting their best player, Xander Bogaerts, again.
Has there been an explanation for that, Joe? I just heard that.
No injury or anything.
What is going on with that?
I'm going to tell you what's going on with that. Xander Bogaerts is pissed off. He signed a contract below market value with the Red Sox, and I'm sure they promised him one thing. They promised him that they would put a competitive team out there each year, and that they were going to try as hard as they could to sign Mookie Betts, and they didn't either.
Interesting. So you think he doesn't want to play? He's on strike or something, or?
He had mentioned during spring training, because he's, the leader of the team now. I guess you guys would all agree with that, right?
Oh, JD Martinez might argue with that.
Okay, well, Xander's been there for 2 World Series.
Yeah.
And he's their best all-around player, probably.
All right. I'll give you Martinez and Bogarts are co-captains, but he had said during spring training that there was no life on this team and there was no camaraderie whatsoever.
Wow.
If you remember that, and Martinez said too last night, there isn't a whole lot of fun right now in this clubhouse. Yes, Xander Bogaerts is not happy with the Boston Red Sox, and he's making that well known.
You could, I wonder if you're could be on to something. He also didn't he say the other night that our pitching staff isn't very good? Didn't he say that out loud after the game?
Yeah.
I wonder if this
because everyone else is making excuses.
This could be disciplinary too. There's another aspect of this that could be disciplinary.
Yeah, well, you
Of course, DeGrom's going tonight too. I wouldn't want to go up against him.
Look, I mean, you only play in a 60-game season, Joe. Your game, and what are we into now? Game 6.
Yep.
It's time to play baseball. Xander has no excuses. I'm telling you something. He's not happy with Red Sox manager.
Yeah, it's amazing that he should be getting, rest days every third day. He's your best player. You keep him going for 60 days.
It doesn't make any sense. Unless he's injured, it makes no sense that he's not in the lineup every single night for 60
No one has said anything. He's not on any injured list or anything like that.
So, Timmy, I had great hope for Ron Renneke. Maybe I was the only one. Maybe some close family members thought highly of him too. But he's been actually, the games that he's managed, he's been an abject failure.
Is he a fill-in? I mean, this can't be our manager.
No, look, the way he's used Workman, the way he's
like a fill-in for a.
But he feels like a fill-in too, right? I mean, he feels like a fill-in. The way he's used Brandon Workman, refusing him to use him in tight games, even though the Red Sox weren't winning. It just seems awkward. I know it's a bad team, but Ron Renneke's not shining.
The players look. Do you think the players look at him and say he's like a substitute teacher? I mean, that's what he feels like. He feels like a substitute teacher.
How far we've gone, Russ, from 2018 to I believe the best team that the Red Sox have ever.
I think I sent you a text the other night. It was a little blurb in an Alex Spear article where the Red Sox, other than Andrew Benintendi, since 2012, haven't drafted a player with essentially a player efficiency rating kind of thing above standard.
1.5, right?
Crazy. I mean, really, they're barren in terms of their draft since 2012. Now, a lot of those guys did come up and came into the lineup, so they had a great streak, Mookie and Benintendi and Bogaerts, but they have not drafted well, and I'm sure that's also what cost Dombrowski his job, because you don't have the young guys in AAA right now who are ready, or AA are ready to jump up to the team.
Well, Dombrowski
guys.
Dombrowski did a Detroit maneuver there. He ridiculous contracts, threw all sorts of money around, mortgaged the future to give us that 2018 team. I mean, it was like scorched earth after he was done.
Yeah, and Joe, we always say we're willing to mortgage the future to get a championship, right?
We like the trophies more than anything else, that's for sure.
But we're such spoiled brats here in Boston. When we say that, we don't really mean it. Every year we won an exemplary.
We won another one.
We feel it.
We're not used to looking up in the standings. That's for sure.
Yeah. But this team is different because I think we would have patience with this team if we had young prospects who were pitching, who had some future potential, and there was some growing pains and stuff. But when you're just throwing pieces of shit, guys who should be working at drive-thrus and Wendy's as a pitcher, that's unacceptable for the Boston.
I mean, technically, we should have Sale, Price, Erod, Evaldi, right? I mean,
and you could argue even a Porcello.
That should be the starting 5 right now.
And Russ, you'd be happy with that, right?
Yeah, look, I think Reneke's been dealt a little bit of a bad hand. He lost some guys and they were not replaced with legitimate replacements. I mean, that's really what happened is they dealt and lost some players and they didn't replace them with guys.
Major leaguers.
Yeah, with major leaguers. And you're paying, and if they wanted to, look, they admitted openly that they were going to reset the luxury tax. And that's why we are where we are. Bad drafting and a luxury tax reset.
Yeah. All right, boys, we go to the Boston Celtics, and you got to be excited about Friday. I mean, the NBA has had thousands of tests of their players, and not one has tested positive. It feels like it's possible now that the season can go from right now in this point on Friday and to complete it through the World Championship. Celtics are playing the Bucks. Should be a huge test to find out where they are right now.
You have to be excited for them.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. It's real games that matter. It's a team that we were invested in emotionally. It's a team that's got stars on it, got a good coach, and it's a league that's done its job. Like, I mean, how great is this? We're gonna have 8 games, and then we're in the middle of then we're in the playoffs. It's gonna be a fantastic month. Hopefully, they don't start out early.
They're gonna blow MLB out of the water in ratings. It's not even gonna be close.
Oh yeah, Kemba's back to me, and when you start putting now, all of a sudden, when you think about Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and you add Kemba. This is a real strong core of a team for the next few years.
As the season started, it never seemed like we had the whole team.
Yeah. We didn't. It didn't seem like it because it didn't seem like it because we just didn't. I mean, it's a ridiculous number of games. I think it's like 15 games where we've had all 6 of our top 6 players out of however many they played, almost 70. So you're looking at a situation where if we haven't seen what they could do fully healthy. We just haven't.
Yeah.
Exciting group.
And I think a guy like we talked about before, but in depth, Cantor on a short season right now. We saw what he played on early on. I think this is a guy that it's going to be very difficult for Cantor to play 80 games in the playoffs and turn out to be a productive player each night. But with 8 games and then playoffs, I think you're going to see the best of Cantor.
You're going to mix and match him. You're going to mix and match the bigs against a team like Philly. You're going to play Cantor a lot. You may play him a little bit against Toronto, but against a team like Miami or Indiana,
Houston, you don't even need to use them.
You don't need to use them, and they'll play Grant Williams at the 5 every once in a while. They'll play Robert Williams at the 5, and they'll just mix and match because that's your only position of weakness at this point.
I feel like with no crowd and with the ability to hear coaches and players, coaches are going to be have the light shine on them more in the next few months than we've ever seen. And I think Brad Stevens will shine the brightest.
It's a great point. There's no excuses. Neutral site. This is what they always used to say about, what was it about Bill Parcells, or maybe it was even Belichick, where, give them put a team on a neutral site. And the best coach is going to win more often than not. So we'll see what we got.
Well, this is this is like an AAU tournament, Joe. I mean, it really is. And these guys were brought up in AAU basketball. That's why they all know each other. So it has that feel to it, So if of all the 4 sports, these guys are kind of used to this atmosphere, playing in high quality games in front of nobody when they're growing up.
It's a good looking product that they're putting out there, I think. Now, I've been watching some of the scrimmages the last couple of nights. It looks like it's going to be fine. I don't see how there'll be a problem. The crowd noise they have is okay. It's not intrusive or anything, and you don't seem to mind. And you're right about the spotlight will be on those last 2 minutes. What coaches do in the last 2 minutes of the half and 2 minutes of the game. It will show who knows how to win and who doesn't know how to win.
Yep.
Do you think we're going to be able to get any of the trash talking out there between the players?
I've heard, it's a great question, Tim. I've heard that they're going to have a little bit more of a delay than they normally do. And then the NBA, I haven't looked at it yet, but they came out with a package of things they're going to do to sort of create an environment, sound, and they are going to do something like Scott, I was talking to you about, where they're going to give a bunch of folks an app and allow them to sort of dial up or dial down, and they'll factor that into the crowd noise. And there's going to be music and things on the screens that are going to make it feel even more lively.
Well, they were talking about the NHL, and they said Marshall would definitely have to be on an 8-second delay. Absolutely.
Yeah, right. Well, we know with the NBA presentation with the Garden, and even when they had the Vin Baker years, and of course our friend Jerry for Dirty Water TV is part of that. Nobody puts on a better game presentation than the NBA.
For sure, and you miss all that, the announcements and the hype and everything like that. So I'd like to see them dial it up a little bit more than they have, but I think they're holding that until the real games start.
It could be tricky though. Like I noticed in some of the baseball instances, a guy would get a hit and the cheer would be as he was rounding second. The timing was off on things.
Okay, so guys, I have a theory about all of this. In Major League Baseball, Major League Baseball doesn't shut the league down because of the Marlins, but they would shut this league down right now if the Yankees or Dodgers were in the same situation. Would you agree on that?
Joe?
Oh, frozen.
Oh, I don't know. They definitely want the Yankees and the Dodgers are their showpiece right now.
Would they shut Major League Baseball down if the Yankees had been in the same situation and would be forced to play scrubs? And this is I'll continue with my point concerning the NBA. But I think they would have shut that down.
But I don't think the Yankees by themselves. I think it would have to be the Yankees and somebody else.
I agree. Yeah.
I don't think just one team.
I think that's right. I think Yankees you can handle. Yeah. I think there's a way of handling one team. It's already starting to get a little greasy in terms of the competitive balance. So they're already starting to rework the schedule around the Marlins. Yankees alone, no, but Yankees and somebody, and all of a sudden it's just almost impossible to make the schedule work. I think they're shutting it down.
But my point is, I think that Major League Baseball wants the Yankees and Dodgers in the World Series.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, now we go to the NBA, which is our subject matter. If LeBron James got COVID-19 right now and could not play, would they shut down NBA?
No, absolutely not. There's too short of a run. There's not that many guys they need to ultimately keep healthy. The NBA is basically saying we're going to the end. And yeah, would it be terrible if LeBron and the Lakers got it? I don't know if it went through an entire team during the playoffs, what would you do? I think you'd have to make a concession, but no, I don't think the NBA is dependent on any one or small group of players.
I think the NBA could be more nimble with this. The MLB seems more cumbersome, like it's more moving parts. I think the NBA has kind of simplified this, and I think they'd be able to respond and react a little quicker than MLB would be able to.
Okay, but my theory is, Joe, that look, NBA wants LeBron James and the Lakers to win a title.
Oh, I'm sure they would, and they would love to see the two LA teams in the finals.
Why do you
think
the
conference finals?
Do you really think the NBA cares if LeBron James wins a title or not? Like, I think the NBA.
The Lakers, I think he does. Yeah.
No, I think the NBA would be thrilled if any one of 10 teams won the title. I don't see.
The USA has had the fill of LeBron James right now. That's my opinion. I've had my fill.
I think he's such.
I don't agree, Scott. I don't see that the league has favored the Lakers, and I think the league would be thrilled if the Clippers won it. I don't think they were thrilled last year that Toronto won it, a Canadian team won it, but I think any number of these teams they'd be psyched for.
All right, yeah. Look, I'm only going to be happy if the Celtics win it, so that's all I care
think about. The NBA would mind seeing the Celtics win it.
I think they would like to see Celtics Lakers.
They would die for a Celtics Laker final. Oh
yeah.
That's ratings
NBA,
bonanza.
The NBA this year is going to get the ratings no matter who's in it.
I agree.
Trust me. I mean, people are dying to watch something.
Oh yeah, Giannis versus the Lakers or the Clippers is gold too.
I think
Giannis is an international superstar, almost on LeBron's level.
I'm more excited to watch Giannis play than I am to watch LeBron play, to tell you the truth. But I was going to say, I think the NHL's ratings are going to be off the charts too.
They're going to be fun. 10 in the morning till 10:30 at night, games constantly.
Well, I can tell you why the NBA is going to be very popular, because the gamblers have lots of money in their pockets. I'm telling you something. They are so, and gambling on basketball is lots of fun. Just as fun to me as the NFL. There's going to be a lot of money being poured in for the.
Well, the NBA doesn't compare to the NFL when it comes to gambling. I don't believe, right?
I don't know. The NBA's it gets a lot.
It's becoming a much bigger deal.
I've bet on a million NFL games. I've never bet on a basketball game.
The young people, I can tell you that I have a few in my house. The young people love to bet NBA basketball.
You can bet all 4 quarters. You can bet halves.
But there's so much
lots of things.
So much garbage time in the NBA. I don't know many guys amongst my friends. Everyone bets on football.
You can bet on basketball every night, and I love the parlay stuff.
It was always college basketball was the bettor's paradise, but now the NBA's become with DraftKings and them. NBA.
Well, did it come out before that I was a degenerate gambler? I didn't know. I've known it for 20 years.
Now it's clear.
All right, we're going to the NHL. We finish up. You got to hand it to those Canucks. We said it. Just give those guys a case of beer a night, and they were just fine. Close to 5,000 tests of NHL players. Obviously, they've been tested more than one time. Not one positive case. I'm going to believe that continues no matter what.
That's because they've all been fishing on lakes up in Saskatchewan the last 3 months,
From the wilds of Alberta.
Rusty, they're a rare breed, NHL players. And
look, the NBA, but by the way, the NBA had 0 tests too. I think they are a rare breed. I think it has as much to do with the fact that these guys know it's a relatively short stretch where they're in the bubble. If they keep it together, they can get the rest of their salaries this year. It's not going to decimate the sport.
Yeah, everybody wins. If everyone does the right thing, everybody wins.
They're playing ball. They know it's only 90 days. Just suck it up. They've just been with their families for 4 months. They're thrilled to get the hell out of there.
When you think about it, it's really just not that hard to do the right thing and wear a mask and use some sanitizer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really just shows you if the country had done the same thing that the NBA and NHL players did, and just showed some discipline and wore some cloth in their face, that we'd be already done this.
The South wasn't taking this thing seriously until very recently, and I mean they're paying the price now.
Well, hopefully sports, as it always been, hopefully can be a positive example for the rest of the country and get people straightened out.
Hope so. Yep, for sure.
All right, boys. Well, that's our show. But I want to thank, of course, the boys. Want to thank everyone behind the scenes. Andrew, thank you very much for your help. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Wednesday night at 6:30 for another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.